Good morning and welcome to Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. Jerry, I'll hug you in a minute. Thank you. I sent Steve to get them. Thank you. Our friend Steve just went downstairs to gently encourage the folks who are visiting down there to come up and join us. And so, in anticipation of that occurrence, we are going to begin our service. Good morning and welcome to Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. As our name suggests, we are a community which honors many paths to the divine. And to support that vision, we are very lucky today to have our friend Richie Townsend present. That was an interesting slip of the tongue. Maybe there's a future here you don't know about yet. That's right. That's right. Present to be our speaker today. And so, shall I do the invocation or would you like to? Yes. And so, to begin our service, I will offer a short invocation this morning. Mother, Father, God, divine and loving Spirit, please help us to be mindful that it is your spark that lights us each from inside. Please help us to make the choices and have the experiences that your love and wisdom guide us toward, and to remember that there are no accidents, no coincidence, and nothing that is in existence without purpose. And so it is. Amen. All right, here is that lovely time of day when we can greet one another, the huggy time, as we call it. So whether you are most comfortable with a smile, a handshake, or a hug, please greet your neighbor. If you'd prefer to maintain distance for any reason, simply remain seated. All right, lovely people, it's time to sing, so please rise and we will sing our opening hymn, which is Let There Be Peace. If you need the words, they are on the laminated card, which should be right in front of you. And Carol, what's our first hymn?
14 in Wings. And this is one where we keep jumping back and forth from the refrain and the stanzas.
And please be seated. I have a few things to throw at you, so please, if you have any questions, raise your hand. I'm going to go with the book sale first because that implicates me, which because I volunteer for it over and over again. It made sense this year to coordinate the book sale with our annual meeting, hoping that when we have lots of people here, we will sell lots of books. So our annual meeting is Sunday, October 30th, and that means the book sale will be that day. It will also be open to the public on Saturday, but in the past, church folks have been our biggest buyers and they have bought when they're here on Sunday. So the best day for you to drop off your books is the previous Sunday, which is October 23rd. I'll remind you as we get closer, it'll be on Facebook. It'll probably go out in an email. So just letting you know. And very briefly, please, no encyclopedias, no textbooks, nothing with any kind of musty smell. And I'm sorry to mention that, but it does happen. Next Sunday is Potluck Sunday, as is the third Sunday of each month. Please bring a dish to share if you can. And we have been having everywhere from snacks to a light lunch every Sunday, thanks primarily to our friend Mark Carlson. And we have been reimbursing Mark for some of his expenditures. So there's usually a little basket at the end of the table. If you feel that you can throw in $1 or $2 or whatever, please do so. And then getting to that annual meeting at the end of October, we have elections for our Board of Trustees, and there's a big turnover this year. Carol Carey's 2-year term as president expires. The vice president is elected every year. Several trustees will be having their term end. So if you feel moved to serve in that capacity, please let Carol know if you have any questions. Talk to her or any board member. Our bylaws require that folks who run for the Board of Trustees have been a member, paid member, official member for at least a year. And speaking of being a member, our bylaws also require that we all renew our membership each year. So that means that if you renewed your membership last fall, it's time to do it again. There should be some slips of paper on that little back table. Fill out one of those and make a contribution of any amount you choose, and you are good to go. And I think that that is what I have. Anyone else? Jean?
Joe Downs was in the hospital last week. Possibly had a TIA and she's on medication. Back home.
Okay, so prayers for our friend Joel Downs. Steve, did you have something?
Yeah, showing the movie Drive 1 after the service after lunch, so I'm expecting to be between noon and 12:30.
Okay, wonderful. Anyone else? Oh, thank you. Kate?
A couple of weeks ago at least, I asked for healing prayers for my friend Richie. She's having surgery. Amazing. Her recovery was amazing. I mean, she's still recovering, but she's surprised. Thanks so much for
Wonderful,
all that you give.
wonderful. I would like to just add for all of us to keep in mind, of course, the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Let us just hope or hold everyone there in our hopes for the best and highest good for a resolution of that conflict. And I don't know if you know, but there's catastrophic flooding in Pakistan at this point in time. Yes, so the folks in Pakistan could use our prayers for their highest good as well. Any other prayer requests? Anything else we need to know about at this time? All right, we are going to say our principles, and this morning we are going to use the unity principles, which hopefully you can find on a piece of paper in your pew or nearby you. So please read with me. God is the source and creator of all. There is no other enduring power. God is good and present everywhere. We are spiritual beings created in God's image. The Spirit of God lives within each person. Therefore, all people are inherently good. We create our life experiences through our way of thinking. There is power in affirmative prayer, which we believe increases our awareness of God. Knowledge of these spiritual principles is not enough. We must live them. Okay, we've done our announcements, but I do want to remind us as we go, before we sing hymn number 74 in the silence, to hold the names of all the people in our prayer bowl up for their best and highest good. If there's anyone else you would like to add, either literally or in your mind, please do so. After we sing hymn number 74, Richie will do his talk, and he will do his meditation after his talk. So if you need the words to In the Silence, they are on page 74 in Wings of Song. Richie, it's all yours.
Got to get comfortable. Good morning. It's nice to see everyone on this really beautiful morning. I like that where the principles have to be lived. I like that last line in there. Otherwise, I may have just found an excuse and canceled today because it's been a really tough time, and some of what I'm going to be talking about doing this is living it, and playing guitar when I don't feel like I'm ready is living it. And so when I do that, I'm going to just improvise a piece for you after this. And if you hear any notes that sound like a wrong note, think of it as poignant, or like I threw a little accident in there to, I don't know, speak from the heart or whatever. Be forgiving. You always have been. My talk, I gave the title of, being at peace with the seasons. And that came from hearing people when I love autumn more than anything. And I said to Jerry, I get spring fever in the fall, and that's my creative time, and I love that. And then I hear so many people that will say, the fall is okay, but then it's followed by winter. And we could say that about everything. For me, spring is muddy, and summer is fireworks season. My dogs hate that. And you can find an excuse to dislike every season or to embrace it. And I'm dealing with a dog that's on her last leg right now, and she's taught me so much. My dogs have taught me so much in the last couple of years, and suddenly she needs to go out at 4:30 in the morning if she's going to go outside, and she's never been like that. And so, we take her outside, let her pee, and then I grab binoculars and look stargaze for a while because I'm not going to sleep anyways. So these are little things. That's one of the little things I'm doing to try to embrace the situation and move through it. Some of what I'd like to talk about is there's a couple lines from a prayer, and I think I've even mentioned this before because it was given, my mom had it framed for us after my sister passed away, and it's that prayer Desirata. I think that's how you pronounce it, and a lot of people have heard it. A couple of lines from it. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. That would be my anxiety. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. And then I love, you are a child of the universe, no less than the stars and the trees. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. And I've had to remind myself of things like that daily because we're really struggling with a sick dog. And anybody who's had dogs understands that, just what that's like. This surprise bonding that happens with a creature, and then this creature becomes your spiritual guide. And there was a thing I saw. I've had cats too, but I saw a cartoon. It was a cat sitting in a sunset by the ocean, and it said, Frank the cat sat by the ocean, by the rocks, bathed in the sunset, and thought of nothing because Frank is a cat. And and we've had cats, and we've had the experience with cats that just live in their own world, and then dogs that bond with you like they're connected with every cell in your body. It's an amazing thing. I'll tell you a few of the lessons I've learned from Gus and Gabby, two dogs that I inherited almost 3 years ago when their previous owner, Mikey, left this world very suddenly. And the dogs kind of physically, emotionally, and everything turned toward Tammy and me, my wife Tammy. First, they wouldn't leave her alone. They slept on her bed that night and everything. And they knew, dogs know, I think, better than humans sometimes when somebody has gone. And they just turned to Tammy. And it was an amazing thing to behold. I've never seen anything like that. And then because I'm around so much, they've attached to me. And then during the pandemic, we spent 24/7 together. So some of the things that they taught me, get up and start the day. And if you've had pets, they start your day. Love your meals. And this, I first thought about Gus and Gabby because I was talking about the seasons. Snow is fun. It cushions the whole dog park. Rain is for being indoors, and so is bitter cold. Spring is for getting dirty, and summer is nice when there's no fireworks. We share that love of fireworks or thunder. Love your meals. Pee everywhere so everybody knows where you've been. And then it's okay wherever you poop. Humans have bags for that. My Gabby, she's the one that's at home right now, and she loves her. You have to bear with me. Tammy said, You can't let this consume you. It has.
We love you, Richie.
Thank you. Other things, you get a treat just for walking in the house. I don't know how they taught me that. But riding in the car is good, except for when we pull into the vet or groomer's parking lot. They actually know, when we get into Lakeside, they recognize the neighborhood. I don't even have to be in the parking lot of the vet. And with Gabby now, if you can't walk anywhere anymore, find a place in the sun and, or in the shade, or in the sun again, and then the shade again. And just be, and that's what she's doing right now. Love is unconditional, and so is joy. Squirrels and chipmunks are for chasing, and all seasons are for play. And something I've learned, this has been a hard lesson, that if we don't take care, grief is cumulative. And I've had loss in my life. I've talked about it here, and I thought I was so graceful about moving through grief. And I have learned that if you don't maintain, if you don't find ways to get out and take in sunlight, take in the stars, take in whatever your senses will feed you, grief becomes cumulative, and pretty soon you start to live there. And I'm not mistaking that for clinical depression. It's an entirely different thing. They can lapse into each other, but I've learned a lot from watching my dogs about life. I've been blessed with a pretty cool, education in religion and spirituality. Going to California and studying with Matthew Fox and a lot of great teachers. I read lots of Pema Chodron and lots of Buddhist authors and things on the new cosmology. And then I got 2 dogs, and I didn't know anything. I'm learning about grief. Gus died very suddenly in June, very unexpectedly. It's a thing that happens to a dog's tummy, happens to horses too. And it was the most mind-blowing thing that I think I've experienced, which surprises me because I've experienced loss. But these dogs are such embodiment of joy. The way they would get up in the morning and run out the door, and they fly in formation. They run out the door, go to the right and to the left up into the woods and bark, make sure no deer are in their yard, and chase whatever animals. They never catch them, but they chase them. And when I came home, I was royalty. I learned that from dogs. And one other little seasonal thing I'm learning is that, Gabby's not long for this world, and I've said I don't think I can go through this again. But going through this is well worth it for all the joy you get from hanging out with a critter like that. If we have that attitude, we would say, why enjoy life? We're just all going to die anyways, And so I'm learning about that. And when somebody asks me if I want to go for a walk, I kind of want to just stay home. No, I got to get out and go for a walk. And then I come home, and I have thanked friends that have asked me just to go for a walk. And I've thanked friends that I go and play music with this bunch of musicians that in the hour or so that I'm with them, they're getting stoned and drunk. And pretty soon it's such a cacophony of, you can't recognize the songs we're playing, and it's a blast. And I'm sober. And so for me to watch this and play with this, it's very weird, but then I come home feeling pretty good. And it's not even from the pot in the air or anything. It's and then playing music with some other friends. So doing these things, taking in the stars, and just watching dogs and watching their sheer joy. Watching Gus go to the dog park was more joy than I've seen in my entire life. When he would see other dogs there and just take off running after them, and running with the wolves. He was just this big dopey dog. And we always thought, we'd say Gus is really sweet, but he's not very bright. But actually, I think he was wise beyond our imagination. And so these dogs have taught me how to enjoy the seasons, how to make sure I breathe in life, and not to let the heavy stuff be cumulative, because I've experienced that this summer, starting to really crash and say, I have to actively get myself out of this, or this is not going to go well. And including coming here is always healing for me. I always trust this congregation to just be a warm presence for me. So I'm very selfish in coming here every time I do. You've always been very welcoming and a safe place, spiritually, emotionally, everything, and I appreciate that. I think there was one other thing I was going to read, but I'll probably forget it. When I grabbed my notes and put them in my book bag, it was Tammy's shopping list and a recipe. And that's who I am in the world. And so the fact that I did manage to switch those out, no, that's enough. I don't need to keep talking. But thank you for the prayers you do and for the music that I hear when I'm here. I appreciate it all so much. The hymns have always been, even, I don't know, kind of serendipitous or something. Carol asked me a choice between two hymns, and one of them had God and King in it, and I said, I don't really think of God as King. And so this other one, I love that you did. And then I was walking in, and Jasmine was behind me and said, Richie, and I looked up, and that was that divine voice. So I'm going to play a little piece for you that we'll know what it is when we get there. And you can, if you want, you can close your eyes and be with it and listen for those poignant notes. And then we'll move into other things here.
While Richie's getting ready, I want to tell you a very short story about something I learned from my dog last night. Some of you know that I adopted a youngish female German Shepherd about 8 months ago, and Haley is both wonderful and challenging. And last night she taught me that you do not turn off the light without knowing where the black dog is first. She also taught me that if you're going to fall, it's a good thing to do it in a room with a really thick rug. Yeah, so I had a couple of learning experiences last night, and there, and there's probably something a little deeper than that, but right now that's what I've got. Carol, will you come here for a minute, please? Here we are, all trying not to cry. Thank you, Richie.
When Jasmine gets started, we all join, so.
So, as most of you know, the board made a decision within the last year or two to send our organ to a new home. And we know that this has been a difficult decision for our friend Carol, because it is her instrument of choice and a huge part of her life. And so we want to take a couple of minutes this morning for all of us to acknowledge her time and skill and grace over the years, and to, of course, remind her that there's still a piano here that needs to be played. And so, Carol, this is...
Carol, I just want to say thank you for all your love of music, your beautiful organ music. I want to say thank you from all of us. Throughout all the years you have played, and from your heart totally chose the perfect music on an organ, played it so beautifully. And I want to say, I look forward to working with you on the piano as we have for years, and working together, whatever, who's ever going to play, figuring out songs. Please accept these roses on behalf of all of us.
Please rise and applaud.
Getting in here, with the help of Jean, Catherine, and Jasmine, actually, and the board at that time. I've been playing organ for church service for 60 years. And as Jasmine said, I'd rather play an organ than a piano because it feels to me like it speaks more. It's a difficult decision. I understand why it was made. I understand it was difficult for the board. And as I affirm every day with one of my lists of affirmations, wherever we're going, God is already there. So God is in all of this and in all of us. Thank you for the chance to play for as long as I've been able to.
Feels strange to play guitar after that. This is the guitar that my mother bought for me in 1972.
Wow.
So, thought I'd
80
Yes.
years old.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you, Richie. In the wonderful world of serendipity, and serendipity is not coincidence. Coincidence would have us believe that things are random and disconnected. Serendipity tells us that things that seem to be random and disconnected fall into place at the exact moment when they are supposed to. And so, no pressure, Richie. But Richie might have a home for our organ. And so, Richie's here today on the last day that the organ will probably be played. And as I said, no pressure, but I am mentioning this in front of a group full of witnesses. So we'll keep you posted when we know if this might come to pass, but it's just, if it does, just such a lovely affirmation of what we already know to be true. And so would you please, people, please bring forward the baskets for our offering. Our community thanks you for your support. Okay.
Creator, Mother God, we thank you for this offering, for the good work that money and time and blessings you give to the world. We thank you.
Thank you. All right, let us read our church affirmation, which you will find on the card if you need it. We totally accept the belief that God is in charge of the affairs and direction of Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. We know that as our thoughts of trust and joyful anticipation join in harmony with the thoughts of all the members of this fellowship, that we attract the right ministerial leadership to our spiritual community, and we are grateful. I think it's time to gather in our circle.